Let's get right to the mailbag. Again, this week's mailbag left open yet again on my secretary's desk, Joan. And by the way, I'm making that up. You know, sort of like the spaceship thing in the beginning. I don't have a secretary named Joan, and she certainly doesn't have a desk. But it's nice of me to think of that. So, anyway, first question I wanted to answer in the mailbag was sent to me by a guy named Rico. And I think his email address is called Alpha Tango Sierra, which is fantastic. I really, really love that. But it says, "Hey, Mark, today I was talking with an armed forces vet who took sniper training in Canada and owns a weapon that can hit targets from 2,400 yards out. He claimed to have hit targets at that range consistently. He said he used a computer program that took the Coriolis effect into account, and that at that range the effect was 10 inches. He didn't say which way it was going 10 inches, because if was he going north, south, east, west? We don't know. I was going to talk about flat Earth right away with him, but thought better of it and asked about the Coriolis effect first. His eyes lit up when I asked the question, so I know what camp he is in for sure. I listen to your YouTube shows regularly, but I haven't heard you have a conversation with a sniper. Have you been contacted by a sniper via email or phone? If so, what have they said to you? Love the show and all your work. You have opened my eyes to a new perspective. I'm living on a higher plane. All the best, Rico." Thank you, Rico, for the question. And absolutely, I've heard from a sniper. As a matter of fact, this week's mailbag, we got a sniper. And in fact, I was hoping to get a guest eventually, and I know we will. You know, right now we've dealt with the United States Navy missile instructor, the submarine electronics technician, the flight instructor, the industrial valve guy, the Army guy that was doing howitzers. It's just great. Oh, the career surveyor. I'm starting to lose track of the amount of people that are coming forward, but I did have a sniper. I secondhand, but I'll read it to you. So I got a guy, his name is Taylor. I won't say his last name. He says, "Hey, Mark, I've been following the Flat Earth thing for a few months now, and while I am not 100% sold, you guys have definitely brought a lot of fantastic information to light. Anyway, I have a cousin who was a sniper in the U.S. Army from 2005 to 2011 and was an instructor from 2009 to 2011. I sent him an email asking about the Coriolis effect. I am attaching a screen grab of the conversation. Bottom line, they don't use it. And provided I don't crash when I open up this screen grab, but what I'm going to read to you is this. So this is Taylor writing to his cousin Andrew, and I will not give you the last names of the email addresses or anything, but he says, "Hey, Andrew, I hope you're doing well. I know we haven't talked in forever, and I believe the last I heard you were teaching sniper school. The reason for this email is I was listening to something to do with physics lately, and they were discussing the Coriolis effect and how it doesn't really exist. They had some naval missile instructor and artillery guys saying they never calculate for it. And they were talking about, our show. I know I have heard in the past that snipers have to take into account for very long shots, so I wanted to ask you if you teach that. If it's just something you have to do in theory, but never actually do, or if you have actually needed to calculate for it. After all, again, I hope life is going great. Miss you and Stephen. Take care." That was Taylor. Now, Andrew wrote back, brief, but I think it was to the point. And he says, "Hey, Taylor, good to hear from you, man. Yes, I was an instructor at USASS Sniper School from 2009 to 2011. I was in a sniper position from 2005 to 2011. That's 6 years. And never once compensated for Coriolis. It is absolutely not a factor in any weapon system in the Army. If you think about the nature of the target, i.e. a human or vehicle, by the time you calculate for something so negligible, and then the guy moves 1 foot to his right, you're going to miss anyway. People that shoot paper like to sound smart and talk about about stuff like the Coriolis effect. Hope this answers your question. I'd love to see you guys. I'm out in Fort Carson for now, trying to get back east soon. Good to hear from you. Andrew." So yeah, there you go. There's the sniper we've been looking for. But that kind of goes with what we were, the stuff we were talking about was way, way further than the sniper. So while I like hearing from the sniper, for me, the longer distances really took that into account, like torpedoes that go out to like 20 something miles, like artillery shells that go out to 30 something miles, and most Sean McCrae's missile system, which goes out to 60 miles, roughly 50 nautical miles, but 60 plus statute miles or land miles. So basically, if you're not using Coriolis at 60 miles, you're certainly not going to use it at like 1. And the other guy's comment where he was talking about, well, you know, if they were shooting at 2,400 yards, that's a bit of a stretch. I shoot, and he may have been talking about feet, because there's 5,000, roughly 5,000 feet in a mile, and 2,400 yards. It's quite a bit over a mile. So I don't know if he's talking about the same thing. He might have been meaning feet, but either way, the sniper comes forward, sniper trainer. Not only was a sniper, but he was actually an instructor, and he says Coriolis is not in effect. So there you have it. I think that puts that one to bed. So we will delete that one. And while we're on it, I'd also like to mention real quick that someone had sent, a couple of people had sent me, there's a recent movie that just come out, which starring Kurt Russell, and it was called Bone Tomahawk. A gritty Western, kind of part Western, part horror movie, really, really base ritual movie, which kind of like Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood, only like a rated R, like a severe rated R version of that. Anyway, the reason why a couple of people sent this to me, and again, what I said, that the internet hive mind misses nothing, is that during about 55, 56 minutes of the movie, and the reason why I did not put the clip in the beginning of this show, either live or the YouTube version, is because I'm a little leery about the copyright stuff, especially after Jaron got his glove boosters taken down, and I got a copyright warning because I like to put up little fun things at the beginning of the videos, and I put up an actual the intro for the $6 Million Man with Lee Majors. That was back from the 70s. I mean, that's a long time ago for a show, and I'll be darned if NBC, who owns the rights to it now, they went after it. And luckily, I don't monetize anything, so I don't think it counted as a copyright strike. I may be wrong. Someone, if anyone knows the rules better than I do, you might want to look it up. But I think if you're not monetizing anything, they just block the video and they don't strike you because you weren't trying to make money off of it. I could be wrong. But anyway, in Bone Tomahawk, there was an interesting quote in it, which a couple people did send it to me, and thank you guys for sending it, where they were just breaking camp and they were heading out onto the plane, and the deputy says to Kurt Russell, he goes, and I'm not going to screw it up too badly because I've watched it a few times. He says, I know we're told the Earth is round, but this part certainly doesn't seem like it. And, then they pan back and you can see the entire plane in front of them literally is plain. It is dead flat, including the horizon from end to end of the visuals. And it was really good. And what I was thinking about was when I saw that, I was like, really? You didn't have to put this in there, especially since that's probably the first time that's ever been uttered in any Western ever. Because these guys that are out there, they're not exactly scientific. Plus, this is the 1800s. That's whoever made the script change to put that thing in there. That's pretty good. I'm impressed. So thank you, whoever wrote the script to Bone Tomahawk. Not the greatest title in the world, but it makes its point, and actually, it's quite fitting once you watch the whole thing. It's a gritty movie. Cowboy and Indian fights, it's brutal, but. Yeah. Why would they put that in there? And that's a brand new movie. It just got released in theaters, and check it out if you get a chance. Rip it if anyone hasn't ripped it, and go to about the 55, 56 minute mark, and you'll see them. And it's a great line, and eventually someone's going to throw it in there. So yeah, definitely check it out. Oh, and before I get to the next mail in the mailbag, I've also got to mention there was an interesting story. If Jonathan was here, if he'd actually wake up and come to the station, there was a neat. I got to find it here. And that was, where are you? 9 a.m., 9 p.m. There was a neat thing on the stories that were released yesterday. There were 3 stories, and I got to mention it. Hopefully I don't have to do it off memory. Here we go. So there were three stories that were mentioned yesterday. I happened to just be browsing around Google, and I just happened to type in like I every once in a while. So most of the time I'll do it on YouTube, because YouTube's where you find most of your stuff on flat Earth. But in this case, I typed in flat Earth and I just said news and see what happens. Well, the news did pop up, and they were very interesting stories because they all happened consecutively, real close to each other, and they were all from different sections of the news spectrum, but they all tied into flat Earth. And so I want to mention these just in passing. So the first one was the United States reacts to report on meat and cancer. Thinking, so what, right? But in that, they said they were attacking the IARC has less credibility than the Flat Earth Society. Right? That was from NBC News. That was yesterday. All right. Then, just on the heels of that, there was another story called Leading Evangelical Coalition Catches Up on Climate Change. And they said in here that otherwise intellectually vigorous organization and blaze the myth that all evangelicals tithe to the Flat Earth Society. That was from the Huffington Post, also another respected mainstream media thing. You think, okay, what's the saying? Once is happenstance, two is coincidence, third time is enemy action. So the Examiner comes out and does a story almost at the exact same time called "Free People's Minds with Bible-Based Halloween." And part of one of the lines in here was an innate gift from God, the supreme intelligence of reason, or ungodly, foolish nonsense written by ancient Jews who believed the sun orbits a flat Earth. So you're looking at three mainstream stories, and I knew exactly when I was staring at these three what was going on here, which was these three stories were talking about flat Earth from a crazy point of view. They were basically linking flat Earth to anything controversial in the mainstream. So it's like whatever is crazy, we're going to have to figure out a way to tie it to flat Earth. Whether it be the report on meat and cancer, the climate change, Bible thumpers, whatever it is. All three of these news agencies in an 8-hour period all made a major news story and tied it to flat Earth. Fascinating. And of course, it makes sense because, remember I said there's only so many moves you can make on a chessboard. And in this case, they're moving pieces around fast, just dodging whatever they can. Because if you can't, not only were they releasing NASA stories as fast as they could create them, but now they're going to try to do this. But it's going to backfire. You can't release stories like this without people, at least some part of the population, saying, "Oh, what was that flat Earth thing about anyway?" Because if you Google flat Earth, or type in images, or pick videos, or whatever it is, you're gonna run into it. And you're just adding to it. I'm warning you, whoever's out there making the moves, it's not going to go well because you're just really, the analogy I'm using here is you're just shooting wooden arrows into a bonfire. It seems like a good idea, but it's just making the bonfire bigger. And the more you shoot, the bigger it gets. You're not going to be able to escape it. Just saying. So let's get back to the mailbag, shall we? Okay, here's a combination mail thing I wanted to mention. The first one was from Sean, not Sean McCrary, but another guy, same Sean. He was asking me about the mailbag, and he said, your most recent Strange World episode was reading letters from mailbag. At one point in the show, you made a comment after talking about Joe Rogan, saying the flat earth questions will continue coming at him because new proofs or clues are coming in every day. You said that the flat earth is an immovable object. And he goes, well, it seems Neil deGrasse Tyson or his handlers were listening to you. He randomly tweeted a few days ago, not that anybody asked, but the irresistible force beats the immovable object every time. Keep up the good work. You're causing them to revert to covert threats. Thank you, Sean, for writing that in. Because, yeah, absolutely right. And right after that, what did I get from somebody? Neil deGrasse Tyson's email address. Remember how I said last week I gave out Bill Nye the Science Guy's email address. Feel free to listen to last episode's Strange World. It's fairly early on, but you can get Bill Nye the Science Guy's email address and just let him have it. But yeah, Michael writes me. He goes, "This address checks out, but he did not reply to my bait message, so I did not get his personal confirmation. But it appears to be NDT, which stands for Neil deGrasse Tyson, at AM. A is in Apple, M is in Mike, N is in Nancy, H is in H.org, which I believe is the Natural History, American Museum of Natural History. That sounds about right. So NDT at amnh.org, Neil deGrasse Tyson's email address. Feel free, because he is the poster boy for the whole NASA thing, basically science. If you want the poster boy for science right now, the guy that is gonna have to he's gonna have to either flip or go into a hole and hide before it's over. And there, that's totally fine. That's fine. I was just giving out Neil deGrasse Tyson's email address.
Oh, okay, right on.
Yeah, because he wrote and because I think I told during one of our previous shows, I had said in somewhere, I don't even remember saying it, that the flat Earth was an immovable object. You know, you could not get rid of it. And so Neil deGrasse Tyson tweeted out of nowhere. He goes, "Not that anybody asked, but the irresistible force beats the immovable object every time." And I don't even think that's necessarily true. I think it's a push. But, the fact that he's responding, hey, great. So anyway, Neil deGrasse Tyson's email address, ndt at amnh.org. That's Neil deGrasse Tyson at American Museum of Natural History.org, which makes some sense. So, yeah. Thank you, Michael, for that one. And please, feel free to just light him up. I'm not asking for his head on a plate yet. But until that time, just give him a lot of grief. Why not? Just keep badgering him. I want an astrophysicist. It doesn't have to be him. It could be some mouth breather from NASA. Bring somebody out and let him debate. Not and really a debate. Let's do a 2-on-2 or a 3-on-3, or I don't care. I'll do a 1-on-3 at this point.
Yeah, and if that doesn't work, we'll give you his bank account and his password, his PIN, everything next week. Until we get his attention.
It'll be like that the police detective in Hackers, the movie, when they just started destroying him, destroying his life for fun. Yeah, I'm not saying that Neil should be hurt. I don't. I just wish he'd get on board with this, but I know he can't. He's too far in.
So what we'll do is we'll get his home address, and then I want everybody to send in one of those Columbia Records 12 cassettes for a penny, and send it to his address.
That's a great dated reference, by the way. That's really, really good. I like that. Nice.
Can you imagine the guy receives like 15,000 cassettes or 8 tracks?
8 tracks. I actually joined Columbia House like 3 different times. So let's go back to the mailbag real quick. Let me get rid of this one because this one was actually a screenshot sent to me by a Sean. Sean says, looking for help with this one. If we were taught, because I don't think I actually have an answer for this one, because it's a cool question. I haven't really heard it. If we were taught by NASA that the sky is blue because blue has a short wavelength, and that's how our eyes pick it up when sunlight hits the molecules in the atmosphere, then how come I can watch a ton of videos of people making their own vacuum chambers and sucking all the atmospheric molecules out, yet the color of air within the chamber that our eyes perceive doesn't change? Shouldn't the reduced density of air within the vacuum chamber present a different color or some sort of change? They say sunlight is just white until it reflects off something. That I understand. Should the interior of the vacuum chamber get brighter or dimmer as the atmospheric molecules are removed? Anyone skilled in the physics of optics along this line? Thank you, Sean. With a nice picture of you and your girlfriend on there. And his little tag is Flat Earth Free for All. Wonderful. I don't know.
Yeah, let's let the caller answer that one.
Really? Did you actually just drag in a caller?
I don't know. I don't know how this darn thing works. I feel like I'm like on a Klingon ship. It's like I don't understand the controls.
All right. Who is it? Who is our caller tonight?
And our mystery caller is
Jacob.
Jacob. Hey, Jacob, how are you? Wait a minute, Jacob, is your name Jacob Taylor?
Yes.
Jacob, I just got an email from you a little while ago.
I called just in case.
Fantastic. What's on your mind, Jacob? Throw it at me.
Well, I had a few things. I don't want to take up too much time, but
Hit me.
one idea I had was, and I don't know if this is far fetched or not, but I got a handful of friends that are, in the pipeline, and I see this survey thing that you were talking about, and maybe it kind of goes hand in hand with this survey thing, but
And this
pipelines. I
and
may,
are we talking like the Alaskan pipeline or just cross state pipelines?
I'm talking about, yeah, any kind of pipeline that goes for miles and miles because, if that's solid steel, I've hung pipe and, those things are pre-cut and fabbed to fit, perfectly. And if those things stretch for miles, that's solid steel. That's not going to bend. So that would be something you would have to fab to curve,
Nice.
wouldn't you?
Yeah, you're right. Very similar to the railroad track argument, whereas no railroad engineer has ever come forward and said they had to bend the track. And you'd think that eventually you would have to adjust for the curve, but the pipeline would even be worse because the tolerances there would be way more severe, I would think.
Yeah, because that pipeline, I mean, that's solid. That's my mind. That's even more solid than a train track.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, it's a circular. Yeah, you're bolting and welding huge chunks. I don't know what the average chunk of pipeline pipe is, but that's a good point. Excellent. That's really, really cool.
And
So,
then, yeah, and then I came up with a little acronym for NASA. It's
what? What is it?
Nemesis, a custom spoof agenda.
Nemesis, a custom spoof agenda?
Spoof? Yes.
Wow, it's good.
Right on.
That's good. Thank you. Thank
I
you.
know it's deep. It's
No,
deep.
that's fantastic, Jacob. Thank you. Anything else before we kick you off?
Uh, Last thing, have you guys heard of I was just giving some kids movies for my kid and just watching some with my kid the other day, and there was this one that maybe it's not as popular for you guys since it's a kid movie. But have you ever heard of a movie called Planet 21 or
Planet
Planet 51?
Planet 51? No, I have not.
It's there's some interesting stuff in there. Like it's about this guy he's a NASA astronaut, and he goes to this Planet 51,
Uh-huh.
and this kid alien he believes that space only goes out 500 miles, and by the end of the movie the kid changes his mind, and it's a triumphant moment where he's now encouraging the whole alien race that you know
Excellent.
uh, space is infinite.
That's really, really great. Hey, Jacob, thank you very much for your comments. Your pipeline thing was very good. I hope anyone that's listening in the pipeline industry is will pick up on this. Unfortunately, we got more callers. Go figure.
All
But
right.
thank
Yep.
you, man. All
Thank
right.
you, man.
Bye.
Cool.
All right. Who else? Who else is on the line?
Okay, we got a call out of Pleasanton, Texas.
Okay.
And who's on the call? Caller.
Good evening. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing well. You're calling from Texas.
Wonderful. Well, I'm actually in Floresville, but it doesn't really seem to matter.
That's okay. What's on your mind?
Well, there's a couple of the clues that might have been overlooked by a lot of us flat earthers out here. One, when you have pictures of them everywhere, chemtrails,
Chemtrails.
and theoretically, you should see a curve in the chemtrail line. It shouldn't be a straight line.
You're right, and I have seen. There's actually people that have made a couple of videos, and I have gotten several emails on that. Not just chemtrails, but even straight up contrails. They should be they should look a little different at altitude. You're absolutely right.
Another point that maybe might not be looked at is the radio towers out here in the country of Texas. There's a lot of radio towers up, and if you ever notice, the radio towers are facing perpendicular or parallel to the ground.
Okay.
They're facing like a lighthouse directly out in the air. Now, if you wanted to maximize your communication, wouldn't you want to point that down for the curvature of the Earth?
Ooh. Interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, hadn't thought of that. Again, people, the internet hive mind, it misses nothing. Hey, before we let you go, have you ever called into our show before?
No, sir, I have. In fact, I'm in your chat room right now under my wife's name. I didn't ever want to, get a Facebook account. It was kind of pointless. My wife got one, and I'm using her name, and she's in the chat room now.
Oh, okay.
I'm in the chat room now. But I picked up on the flat Earth about 2 weeks ago, and I went hard and heavy on it. At first, just like everybody else, you're blind to the obvious things in front of your face, and with your videos and Rob's and of course Matt's,
Cool.
there's a lot of good valid points there. A lot of good valid points that we just overlook on a constant basis. And at this point in time, I'm just going around, enlightening people. Look out in front of your front door. Look at what you see. You're going to believe your lying eyes.
Nice. Keeping it flat. I'm sorry, Jonathan.
Keep him on the phone. Keep him on the phone about 10 more seconds. We almost got a trace.
Good. One more thing. I don't know if y'all watched the show before, y'all, about the Kesh Foundation.
I didn't know what they did tonight beforehand. I was getting ready for this, unfortunately.
Oh, they back on October 16th, the Kesh Foundation gave an ultimatum to all the governments about free power.
Oh, was that tonight? Was that the deadline?
Well, the deadline was yesterday, actually. So they actually put it on the web yesterday for how to build your own mag energy. Forgive me, I don't know the name of it exactly. I just, briefly looked over the web page and watched maybe one video on it. But they gave an ultimatum saying, if you don't do this, we're going to release it, and you're not going to stop it. And these things are the size of your hand, your palm, and they're powering houses.
That's Kesh. That's KESHE Foundation.org.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Right on.
They even have a YouTube channel.
Well, wow, cool. Right on. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we still have another caller on the line.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for actually bringing this to my attention and helping wake up some of these people that are just blind at the wheel.
You're very welcome. Stay flat, man.
Thank you.
You too.
All right. You got another call. You got two more callers.
Okay, let's make this a call-in show. It started out as mailbag, but you know what? Let's go.
Okay. This one's out of Canada, Saskatchewan. And caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Mark.
Yes.
And Jonathan.
And Jonathan. See, Jonathan's.
And Jonathan, yeah.
That's okay.
I've actually called you. Before at your home number.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to let you know that I'm putting flat Earth stuff into an anime-inspired audio series that I'm writing and performing on YouTube called Banana Chan.
Wow, that's really
cool.
Really cool. Is it how long do you think before your first video?
Well, my first video is like an hour and a half long. The second one is 44 minutes long. And it's like reading a novel, but it's cut into like an audio drama type thing. And I'm putting flat Earth stuff into it.
Wow. Yeah. Make sure that flat Earth's in the title somewhere, even if it's in parentheses, so that it gets
Flat
noticed.
Earth will be in the title of the third episode. The third episode's gonna be called Flat Earth and Other Green Bananas.
and that in no way is a takeoff of flat Earth and other hot potatoes.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just wanted to let you know about that. That episode's going to be up before Christmas.
Oh, well, cool. Well, we absolutely be looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Cool.
Just wanted to let you know. Have a great time.
All right, you too. Stay flat.
Bye.
All right.
Now I know how Teller feels. A Penn and Teller. He's like silent.
I'm telling you, man. I hope that they watch it. That your perceptions episode
or Robin at the Comic-Con.
No. Burt Ward got a lot of action. He did. He absolutely did. And I would not in any way compare myself to Adam West.
I'm teasing.
I know. But after the episode, hopefully you'll get people that make videos about you and call you a shill and all this other fun stuff.
What was that movie, Galaxy Quest? That made a goof on the Star Trek phenomenon?
Oh, yeah, Galaxy Quest.
It was so spot on, and nobody really cared about the minor players.
Yeah. Oh, like Guy.
I love that movie.
Guy was great. I love Guy Fleegman.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
I
great.
think that was Sam Rockwell, right? Was it?
That was Sam Rockwell.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
right on.
Yeah, so I love Sam Rockwell.
Yeah,
I think
he's a dynamic actor.
yeah, he's really, really good.
All right,
So do we still have
Yeah, you got another call from Tulsa.
Very good. From where?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. Are you there with us?
Are you with us, caller?
Hello, yes. I just got the line unmuted. Are you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can now.
Great. Okay. Two quick things. First off, on a magnet, if you want a magnet that's on a disc, first off, no spherical magnets ever appear on nature. If you want to make a magnet that's a disc, you literally have to have one pole in the center, and the opposite pole would be on the edge of the disc magnet. So, right on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just magnetics, so that's a quick thing I had. The other thing, and you almost talked about this, your interview with Patricia Steer. You had somebody call in talking about east-west plane travel. This is huge.
Yeah.
If you're going east or west, you are going to have to constantly correct your north-south position. Because if you're going due west, you're going in a circle. The equator is a circle, correct?
Yep.
That's. I remember in flight school, and I only took baby kindergarten flight school in Civil Air Patrol, so I'm going way back in my history. I found out I have a bum eye. Never be a pilot. I gave it up.
Okay.
So, but I remember that they were saying it was because of the curvature of the Earth that you're constantly having to overcorrect if you're going due east or due west, either or. And in the northern hemisphere, you're going to have to correct for the curvature one direction to the north.
Yeah.
If you were hypothetically flying in the south, you would have to overcorrect to the south. If I'm correct in what I remember from baby flight school, again, kindergarten, so I made it through, they use the same charts as the USGS. They use the PT charts. It's altitude charts. All of the longitude lines are curved, supposedly because they're taken from a sphere.
Sure.
So all of your latitude, your north-south lines are going to be perfectly direct. If you're going north, you're never going to have to correct. But if you want to go east or west, you are going to have to constantly correct your flight trajectory according to the hemisphere you're in. And that would be so easy to just rock solid, 100% dead wrong. All we need to do is take a simple flight in a Cessna in the southern hemisphere and find out if you're constantly correcting towards the north or not.
Nice. Excellent. Thank you. I hope somebody listening to that can help us out there.
I mean, really, I've tried to get a hold of Jonathan that you interviewed from the Walter Aviation.
Oh, right.
I tried to leave you a couple messages, and then when I heard that caller talk about it last night I heard your hot potato show last night, late, obviously.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, that's huge. That's huge, but they almost nailed it, and you just kind of skipped over the question, and I was just sitting there biting my finger off.
Sorry.
It's a huge point. No, that's okay, but I don't think anybody really brought it to that level. It's an easy test. I mean, that's something we can really do quite easily and quite cheaply.
All right. So, yeah, Southern Hemisphere, a simple plane flight, will it constantly be compensating for the north-south?
And supposedly, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, it would be the opposite, because that's what the explanation they gave us for the charts being with curved longitude lines, obviously curved northwards in the Northern Hemisphere. Again, I haven't seen any flight charts for the Southern Hemisphere. I didn't finish flight school, obviously. I had a bum eye, so that's my story.
Well,
but
thank you. No,
Can
thank you,
get a
man.
hold of you and
Yeah,
just
unfortunately,
that.
yeah, I get a lot of phone calls, and there's just so many I can deal with, unfortunately, because it just takes up a lot of time. That and the emails. I mean, we're doing mailbag right tonight because I can't even answer a lot of these emails. It's just and they're really interesting, the stuff that they want to talk about. But thank you very much. Okay.
No problem. Just like I said, I mean, because that's a topic I have not heard anybody bring up. Everybody talks about the altitude correction or the lack thereof, I should say, but nobody's really gone on the east and west. And you guys almost hit it. And I just, oh God, I've been trying to get this to you.
Oh, no,
I
cool.
think
Well,
that's really
you know what? Perseverance pays off. So thank you. And feel free to call in again. Okay.
Thank you guys. God
All
bless
right,
you.
thank you.
Stay flat.
Talk to you later. Stay flat.
That's actually what he just said.
Yeah.
Is actually important because all these little minor details are going to be so much more important as this thing progresses.
Oh yeah.
And the reason being is because the stuff that people refute or go after in the forums are the basics.
Mm-hmm.
The obvious elephant in the room. And so they'll come up with their reason as to why they're right and you're wrong, and so on and so forth. Then you come up with these minor little details, these little.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, I never thought. Nobody could ever see those kind of things coming.
There's so many cool little new weapons. That's another great thing about the flat Earth is that the skeptics on the other side, it takes them longer to respond to the ideas. The ideas are basically coming out faster than the responses are.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
They don't know what to do with stuff like this. What do you do with it? So good stuff. Do we have any more callers, or can we go back
have
to
another one at Grand Rapids, Michigan?
Wow, I gave out the number like twice, and now everybody's calling. So okay, cool. Let's do it.
Who do we have on the line with us?
Are you there, caller?
Hey, this is Ray.
Hey, Ray.
Yes. Hello, Mark. And how you doing? Hey, Jonathan. I'm also from Jersey.
Right on.
Living in Grand Rapids right now, but yeah. I was calling. First of all, thank you very much for helping me understand that uneasy feeling I've always had about the world that I live in.
Yeah.
Flat Earth has definitely made it all make sense. But anyway, I was calling. I've listened to a lot of videos, watched all your clues, and I've never really heard anybody touch on this, and I could be way off, but it's just a thought that I have. Is it possible that Amelia Earhart went down or got lost because she was not aware of the fact that in the Southern Hemisphere didn't she go down in the Southern Hemisphere coming across the Pacific?
Yeah, it's very
possible because...
Yep, very possible. For those people who don't know who Amelia Earhart is, famous female aviator and an explorer, and she made an epic round the world trip and disappeared. The mystery, and people blame it on this and that, weather, mechanical problems, but it could have been as simple as her maps were wrong. Because if she had delved too far and gone in the Southern Hemisphere, and then the distances on a flat Earth get exaggerated, basically if she was using globe maps and she was flying, a straight up prop plane, right, there's the chance is that she might have, if she was going for like a long, going for a stretch, like maybe the fuel would be kind of iffy, but she was a good enough pilot. It's like, I can make it. But if the map's wrong, maybe she had to ditch. Yeah, very possible. Very possible.
That's pretty much. I've been contemplating that, but.
Oh, cool, right on. Sorry, Jonathan.
Wasn't her call sign like MH370 or something?
I see what you're doing there.
Sorry.
That's good. Well, thank you very much for the question, and
thank you guys.
Feel free to call in. Stay flat.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So we've got a minute and a half till the break. Do I get to do anything, or should I just give out the number one more time?
No, there's nobody else at the moment. But
oh, thank God. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not looking to make. I never look to make light or anything or comedy out of tragedy. But it's just
no.
There's certain things that should get paid more attention to, and people just drop the ball. They just let it go. Yeah. They move on to the next thing, the next distraction. So
I'd like to think that she ditched on an island and she ended up like Tom Hanks in Castaway.
Ooh.
And the mailbag. There was a piece of mail I wanted to read here because remember Emory University that was going to run the Flat Earth hoax town hall. Remember that a couple weeks ago? Kind of. They remember the first year freshmen. They were required to take it. It was like a town hall, and they're kind of debating, kind of what you know versus what you don't know.
Right.
Well, anyway, I actually got a letter from someone who was tied to Emory University. Believe it or not. And it's a real short email, but it's from June. Hey, June. I live in Atlanta and have the privilege of being associated with Emory University over the years. Emory University is associated with the Methodist Protestant Christianity Church. There's a mouthful. However, Emory has never quashed controversial ideas. Years ago, there were new theological ideas on the horizon, and Emory allowed their theological professors the academic freedom to explore these ideas. I can tell you that this was not a popular position with the Southern Protestants. So I am thinking that we flat earthers may be in for a pleasant surprise. I would not assume that Emory was just bringing their first-year students back into the ball earth fold. I don't know, but there may be faculty that have looked into this and wanted the debate. I had suspected this, by the way. I have a friend who has given me credence in listening to my ideas of the flat earth. She is very open-minded, and she just happens to be an Emory faculty retiree. When I discussed Emory's debate on this with my friend, she reminded me of Emory's liberal history on the controversial ideas. Also, she knew about the annual freshman event and the selection of challenging topics for this event. She thinks that if Emory was onto this, that other universities either are already there or about to be open to, quote unquote, how do you know what you know? Such a great question you came up with. Well, I did not come up with that question. How do I know what that's? I stole that from Matt Boylan. He was the one that he kind of. I mean, I modified it a bit, but he was the one. It's like, how do you know what you know? Hopefully we will be able to see the debate. I hope it will be something that really stimulates the students to investigate. Also, to be known is Emory takes only the top students. It's a very selective school, so there are some good minds hearing this challenge. And she says, thank you again for doing the flat earth stuff. And that's it. Oh, wait. And so feel free to use the email if you like and leave it to be anonymous. Uh-oh. So it was not June who was emailing me. It was somebody completely different. I have no idea who this person is who's writing me. Definitely not June. But anyway, yeah. So the Emory University thing, the town hall, hopefully... one day, basically what they did was they did a town hall and they were recording the whole thing, and they were going to put the video up on a section on their website. It's not out there. So if anyone's out there looking at the Emory University, just look up Flat Earth Hoax, Emory, Emory. And if anyone sees it, if anyone finds the video, please send it to me or send me the link to it or whatever, because I want to post that thing. I am sure it's not going to be copyrighted. So
how's Matt Boylan doing?
I don't know. I hope he's doing okay. I know he listens every once in a while because, I mention him in just about every show. There's two people we tend to mention. One deliberately, and Christ knows who that is. But
I'm just thinking, like, with his blonde hair and everything, like he's gone from the round earth of Earth to the flat Earth to being like the little prince of his own planet.
Well, he went from Canada down to Florida, and then he was kind of making his way west, and then he showed up at that barbecue that Jaron met him at. I think it was like a blood moon party, and he was there.
Wow,
drunk.
Just showed up, or just was he invited?
No. I heard people knew he was going to be there beforehand, and Jaron said he's absolutely as advertised. He is an eccentric artist.
Wow.
So, hey, Matt, hope you're still sticking with it. I loved your last music video that you made. No ball in the Bible. I thought it was really cool. So make more stuff, seriously. And I'm going to keep giving him credit anyway. I know he doesn't completely trust me, but I still like him.
Yeah, we're going to steal it, but we're going to give you credit. Go ahead.
You go. Yeah, thank you. Real quick, a letter from Mark Pazzi. He says that, hey, Mark, my name is also Mark from Montreal, Canada, and I'm recently converted flat earther thanks to you. You recently mentioned people having difficulties playing some of your YouTube videos from Android devices. Remember I told you that for whatever reason, Android is not playing our show, for example. This right here.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, and other tablets. But especially...
wait, the TuneIn app does. If you have the TuneIn app, you can tune into TFR at least.
Yeah, you could do that. But
Okay.
but there have been people, and that only started, when that started, of course. That started right after we had Sean McCrary on.
Ooh.
Yeah, basically after that, our Android will not play our show.
Wow.
Go figure. I've also encountered this problem, but I've got a solution you might want to share with your listeners. Everybody ready? Although the videos are sometimes unplayable, they still can be downloaded via an app called TubeMate, found here at tubemate.net. I've always used this app for downloading videos so I can play them in the metro, subway, where I don't have any reception. The way it works is simple. Just open the app. It looks like YouTube. Find the video, download it, blah, blah, blah. And then it works. So if anyone wants to use that, hey, great. Because, yeah, I still get emails from people that says it won't work on my Android.
By the way, I just want to back up a moment and just make a comment to what I just said.
Yeah.
About stealing Matt's work. No, seriously, when you put stuff out there that's original content or it's creative license, it's your stuff. That's one thing. If you're a musician, you're an artist, whatever. But a topic like the flat Earth, you don't friggin' lock it up with a patent. That's like what the oil companies do when somebody comes up with a free energy thing.
Like
buy
an
it up
engine
and
that
shelve
runs on
it.
water. Yeah.
Yeah. This isn't what you do with this topic.
No.
Nobody owns this.
No.
So you pick up where the last guy dropped the ball and you keep moving forward. It's like rugby. It's like football with a side lateral pass or a backward pass. You just keep moving towards the goal line, and that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with that statement. That's how this thing is working anyway, because people are getting inspired by people that can, the inspiration is multiple levels deep now.
Absolutely.
Where there's all sorts of fun people saying, hey, you know what? I just found an interesting aspect and nobody touched on it. It's really, really great.
That excites me every time somebody from a different occupation comes in, because I always ask people when I'm traveling and other things, oh, what do you do? Like, what does your job entail? And they'll look at me like, you really interested? Like, do you really care? And I'm like, yeah, I don't do what you do. I'm curious. And then I start asking the questions, maybe not necessarily about flat Earth, but about other things.
Yeah.
Because somebody's always going to see something. Somebody's going to have, control over one thing of it,
Yeah, absolutely agree. Jay writes, howdy, Mark. I thought you may find this video interesting as David Icke is talking flat Earth. Maybe you should get him on Strange World. Talk about a wicked show that would be watched by thousands. By the way, I'm loving Strange World. It's a great show and good for you. Getting people from the armed forces and other occupations. They will be the way to mainstream, I think. Take care, Jay. Yeah, David Icke. I don't know if I sent you that link where he came out and like that was his opening for a new video where he talked about flat Earth and kind of got ethereal with it. Kind of like, well, what is reality? What is, sort of taking a line from your book, what is the world? And you can tell, it's in his head. It's rattling around. I know I have overused this analogy, but like a marble in a paint can, it's not going away. You're not shaking that marble out.
Can I say one thing?
It's not coming out of your ear. What?
I've read his books for years before he was like big news. Mm-hmm. The only problem I have with it, like if he comes out or David Wilcock or any of these other people, the ones that speak to aliens and speak to Ashtar Command and all these other people, it's like, really? Now you're coming up with the flat Earth? Your friends in the UFOs didn't tell you this crap ages ago, decades ago?
Yeah, there is.
You don't jump on the bandwagon now.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I totally hear you.
Because he would have been like, and not only, I can't do the accent, but not only is the reptilian whatever in control of things, but they're keeping you imprisoned on a flat Earth. That's the big secret. Out of 10 books.
Yeah.
That's an important little clue there, pal.
Good, excellent point. Yeah, he's in a position where he could jump on this if he wanted to. And we'll see how that goes. And by the way, I'm kind of stalling because I'm trying to reopen my email because Windows 10 blows, but that's okay. But yeah, you're absolutely right. He could get in front of it. Whereas like Richard Hoagland, he's just gonna have to go to the liquor store and stock up for a long winter.
Well, no, and that's why I prefer like regular callers, like not nobodies, but people like you or me, like regular guys or women, calling in. And not having a stake in the game and saying, okay, I'm doing it for this reason. I'm writing a book. Or I'm writing, this is my next big project.
Yeah.
Like Sean didn't have to come out and come forward. It doesn't enhance his career.
No, absolutely not. No, flat Earth is not a social magnet by any stretch. It is the absolute opposite. And again, I think Star God's quote was still one of the best ones. And that is, it really tests your open-mindedness. You can say you're open-minded about a lot of things. But you if you can get past this, if you can get into this, you are truly open-minded. It is because it's huge. It's monstrous. Oh, by the way, if anyone wants to call in and talk with us, rap about whatever. The number is 1-866-37-TRUTH or 866-378-7884. That's Truth Frequency Radio. Real people, real radio. And real mailbag. Sorry, go ahead.
I got Pennsylvania 65000 written down here.
Wow.
Son of a gun.
Wow.
Really? That's for the Pennsylvania Hotel in New York City, by the way.
Oh, it is?
It actually is.
Nice.
Do you know how that worked?
No.
Back in the day, they didn't have area codes. So like the letters PE, the first two letters, it was an exchange code. And the letter P equals 7, E equals 3. So it was actually 212-736-5000, the current one that it is now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, cool. The one more time, because this was discussed on actually another show, but I wanted to mention this one because it was sent to two people at the same time. It was sent to Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes and this show, Strange World, which was we homeschool and recently told our son that we feel the Earth may be flat. He has an amazing questions about how things work and just got it. He is 8. We told him that we don't discuss our personal beliefs in the matter, similar to Mark's Fight Club comments. First rule of Fight Club is not to talk about Fight Club. Homeschoolers are already heavily scrutinized. I'd like you to share your thoughts on how to tell children and things relating to thoughts on kids, because I feel like this is very important to end the cycle of mind control. Please discuss this topic. What?
I wonder if these parents are homeschooling.
Yeah.
Because me and Melissa believe in homeschooling, but I wonder if they told them about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy.
Okay.
They're not going to know. This kid's not going to know what to believe.
Well, there is that. Although those are, well, okay. Well, this is a good question for you then.
Yes.
You're going to homeschool, but your son is extremely bright. And how old is he?
He's 12. He's 12 in November. Yeah.
All right. What? How did in the world did you bring this up to him?
I just laid it out there for him, and he says that makes a lot more sense than what they're teaching us in school. He questions everything. The thing that I taught him at a very young age is always have respect for the answer, even if it's not what you want to hear. But always be polite, but don't be afraid to ask the whys, like the questions, even if the answer is no.
Nice.
And it's funny because even like with things like Santa Claus and things like that, he asked me point blank. He goes, "What do you think about Santa Claus?" I was like, "Well, what are you getting at?" I said, "Do you think he's real?" And I'm like, "Well, I know the answer because I'm an adult." And I said, "What do you think it is?" He says, "I don't think it's real." And I said, "Well, what did Daddy say he'd never do to you?" He goes, "Lie to me." I said, "Do you want to know the truth?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "You're right. It's not real." I said, it's and I told him, and he was like, "I thought so." And he was so relieved instead of like let down, like some kids may be.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Wait a minute." He goes, "Are you telling me you're the one who bought me those Pokemon cards I wanted that time? You really love me." So it was kind of good.
It's really cool.
But can you imagine though the flat Earth? I mean, if I lied about that or anything else that I have knowledge of.
Excellent point. So next guy is from next mail from the mailbag, which was left open on my secretary's desk. The secretary being Joan is hopefully we aren't cutting out. Is by Jay. Anyway, the message is. Well, the more I look into this, the more convinced I am. I'm certain it's not round, though. My dad has been in road construction all of his adult life and most of his teens as a grade foreman. And I asked if roads were ever built with any curvature in them. In the hundreds of thousands of miles he's constructed, no curvature. Pretty good.
Now, how would that work as a road surveyor? Like when they do the surveying?
Yeah. Basically, like the land surveyor that we had. Only the road surveyor is kind of like a highway surveyor. If anyone, and Jay, if you're listening, if your dad is in the position, I don't know what kind of guy he is. I mean, he could be a rough and tumble guy and be like, "Flat Earth, that's just stupid," right? But who knows? Maybe if he listened to the interview with the building surveyor. Maybe he'd agree with him. Maybe, I'd talk to him. It may not be a full-blown show or anything, but I'd love to talk to him. But yeah, that's what he's saying. He's saying he shoots roads.
Well, see, now I've never driven in the Midwest, but I hear like the roads are absolutely like flat for miles and miles and miles. You'd be on long stretches of road.
Oh yeah.
So wouldn't that come into play there?
I think it would.
Yeah.
So that's an excellent one. Let me see here. Here's a little inspirational one from James. Real short. Dear Mark, because this is about Clue 8, which was called The Creative Force. You know, it was kind of my pick-me-up for people that were having a down day. And they didn't, feel like they had a place in the world, and they just really didn't understand. So it was kind of an inspirational video. He says, "Dear Mark, what a beautiful narration story. Listen to it 3 times, and the thrill stays with me. You have found your purpose, and we are blessed. Call your mother and thank her again for bringing you here. Peace."
Aw.
I know. That was kind of nice. I'm not going to show my mother that though.
I like Mrs. Sargent.
Do you?
I only talked to her that one time.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. And while my email is crashing, hang on one second. 1 minute. Close and reopen. Windows 10. Why? Windows 10. Why? 3 words. That's all it takes.
Hey, Mrs. Sargent, is Mark home? I got these nifty fireworks, and I want to go out inside and play. Is that how it started?
No.
Dude, if you knew me back then, you wouldn't even made it this far in life.
No, I guarantee we'd be in prison or dead or both.
Yeah.
It'd be awful. Let me see here. This one is from a Russian. I cannot read the thing at all, but he writes... Okay, this one's actually a very interesting one. Okay, and his English is not perfect. It's Russian. I mean, his name, I can't even begin to... But it's Mark. Sorry for bothering you. I'm going to fill in the blanks when he mixes stuff. Sorry for bothering you again. But in your great video where you interviewed the Navy chief, you mentioned something called ISS. Apparently, some Russians don't know what the ISS is. From browsing some videos on YouTube, I vaguely recall that this is some sort of spacecraft, right? I'm really curious as to what that is. Could you please elaborate and please perhaps provide some videos I could watch about it? Speaking about submarines, the chief made a perfect point about buoyancy adjustments if the Earth was round, which was very convincing, and the plane altitude maintenance as well. I tell you what, I spoke to my dad's friend who works in Yasenevo, Russian military intelligence office. Well, at least one of them. He said the same exact thing, that he has never heard about either Air Force or sub-buoyancy adjustments. And that's considering he has been with the naval aviation for more than 20 years. The other guy I know personally, Russian Navy captain, 2nd rank with Naval Communication Command, he said straight out that he actually supports this flat Earth theory. Moreover, when I asked him about how the high-speed secured communications work, he said that the satellites is a bunch of BS. They don't exist and never did. He said that the signals bouncing off the clouds or stratospheric layers and get right back to the Earth, but some thousands of miles away if needed, since the planet's ionosphere is one large resonator, or they used high-speed radio communication. In physics, this effect is called standing waves, and the military uses this effect has been using it for decades. So anyway, sorry for taking your time. Just wanted to share and help. I admire your work. Can't get enough of them videos. So,
wow.
I know.
Большое спасибо.
Seriously.
Didn't you start out by saying that it wasn't written that well? I'm convinced you're a spy now. You read perfect Russian, right?
No, okay. One, it's translated into English. There's some adverbs missing, and I just fill it. So when he says, "Mark, sorry bothering you again," I put in the 4.
Was it written in that Little Rascals language they use with the backward R's and stuff?
You're killing me.
I'm sorry.
No, but there is a lot of. I mean, it's all all the signatures. Everything's in frickin' Russian, except for the generic text. Thank God I mean, I could have run it through a translator.
If he's listening, spasibo. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, whatever your name was. I don't even. Yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, what he's just saying there. The Russians. Russian Navy pretty much confirming the same thing. I should forward this to some people.
Well, that'd be cool.
Before I lose it. All right. Let's go to. We still got time. Any calls, by the way? Anything?
I will look. Nope.
Okay, so let's real quick give out the number one more time because we had a slew of calls. Anyone wants to call in, just say hi or, you know, just rap about whatever. Request a song. I'm not saying we're going to play it, but you could request it. Actually, that's what we should do. We should take we should take music requests.
Really?
And yeah, why not? Line them up for the next show. The it's 1-866-37-TRUTH or 866-378-7884. It's Strange World with Mark and Jonathan.
You missed your calling, man.
What, for DJing?
Hell yeah. You got that smooth radio voice and you want to spin records.
Play. I want to spin records. Oh, it reminds me of looking for a friend at the end of the world. I just love that line where it's like, the earth will be destroyed in 7 days. We'll still be here, giving you all the emergency information and playing all your classic rock favorites. It's like, wow, they couldn't, and that's what they do anyway, right? Okay, so let's see here. This next email, we're gonna rip through a few of these. This one's from Owen. And Owen says, hey, I'm starting a new domain URL called flatearth.goesviral.net. And I'm wanting your top 10 vids as well as the top 10 vids of all the people you have sourced in the movement that you appreciate. If you would like to control this page, I'll give it to you. And I told him, I said, no, Owen, you control the page. But thank you very much. And I hope you get it up there. So if anyone checks it out and sees how it's being built, flatearth.goesviral.net. So thank you very much for that. Cool. Ackerman Films. Oh yeah, I granted most of the emails I read here are positive, but every once in a while I get a negative email, and this one was written well enough. I had to mention it. So before the break, let's. Oh, you know what? Well, I'm sorry. Do we have another call on the line?
I think we do.
Who do we got?
I don't know. Hold on. Let's see. Caller, are you there?
Caller, are you with us?
Hey.
Yes, I am. I'm calling back from Pleasanton or Floresville, whichever you want to call it.
I'm
looking at a full moon I'm looking at the full moon when the sun's on the other side of the earth, which doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
But I was also going to ask about gravity. Now, supposedly gravity operates because we have a round core, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
because exactly.
If that's true, why do we have places on Earth where water rolls uphill, balls roll uphill, and cars roll uphill?
Yeah, but I think what you're talking about, that uphill thing, I think that's more of an optical illusion than anything else. I know what you're talking about. From a perspective standpoint, it seems like they're running uphill. But I think if you actually throw the levels down and try to shoot the landscape, I think it's actually going downhill. I know what you're talking about, though.
There was one video I had happened across. The place was in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And that you could clearly tell the guy was driving downhill because as you look down, the road went back uphill.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Whether or not he was actually hitting his reverse or not, but I saw the ball and it looked like it was rolling uphill.
Yeah, I've seen that one too. Send it to me when you get a chance. You have my email. It's at the end of everything I do. msargent23 at comcast.net. Unfortunately, we gotta go break here in a few seconds, but send that to me.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring the gravity up because it didn't make much sense.
No,
I've seen water bend itself in midair.
It's totally cool, man.
There's a kid that did a magic trick where he spun the water on a table and he picked the cup up, and when he did, the water kept the cup shape.
Got it. Okay. Okay. I'll take a look at it. All
right.
Right on. You have a good one. We're going to get right into a flamer email.
Got a phone call.
Seriously?
It's another one. Another sucker.
I'm
going to reel him in.
All right. Hang on. Let me punch up the drone strike coordinates.
Hold on a second. Caller, are you with us? Calling out of Maryland?
Yes, I am.
Right on.
Hey, what's on your mind?
I called you a couple weeks ago. You invited me and anyone else to call back the following week, and you were off the air. And I just wanted to let you know that the site has you listed as being on Saturday nights. I didn't know if you were aware of that or not.
You're right. We haven't changed the graphics to Tuesday night yet. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, And I couldn't find you that following Tuesday. Now, I've been listening to the podcast because I wasn't sure exactly when you guys are on. I just happened to catch it tonight. And, yeah, I'm hooked. Simple subject. I think I told you how I stumbled upon it just in mere conversation with a family member and talking about all the lies that we've been fed. And it was something that simply came to my mind because I like to think outside the box. And, have done so pretty much all my life, and it's always benefited me. And I think your guests and yourself have brought up a lot of really good points. The one thing I didn't hear you touch on, though, was whether or not, in your theory of things, what's going on with other bodies relative to us. Right now, we would be in a very active universe. Are you thinking if it's a flat Earth that we're in a static state of being relative to other bodies?
Yes, meaning we don't move, and everything above this is just a giant planetarium. So if you're talking about Saturn and Jupiter and Mars and Venus and all those guys and the stars, that it literally acts no different than a planetarium where everything spins above us, but that's about it. That's about the only dynamic motion involved.
Right.
Yeah.
And let me just offer this forward. I still think, and I touched on this as well, relative to being on board with Einstein, relative to everything being relative. No pun intended, but at any rate, I think in the end, we'll find out that we're neither a very exact orb, ball, or flat. I mean, in your theory, are you thinking slate, like a billiard table, flat? I mean, I'm thinking it's got to be somewhere between the two, a shifting type of plane or a blob that we're on. I think that's the way it's going to turn out. I mean, we can see with our limited senses, just by the topography of the Earth, that it does change. We have deep valleys, we have high mountains, and we have liquid areas. So I think it's going to have to be somewhere there, and that would account for a lot of strange anomalies that happen. I mean, when this blob moves and changes from time to time, and I guess we're on a blob that doesn't do it that often. Otherwise, we'd be constantly bothered by earthquakes and other things. But when it does, I think that would account for the earthquakes, the tidal waves, the strange disappearances, because it would actually swallow up certain things at certain points in time.
Yeah, it's very possible. You know, the whole flat Earth movement is still trying to decipher exactly the continent layout and the scale, and is it perfectly flat? Are there some warps in it? We don't know, but what we're still working on is what we do know for sure, though, is that it's not what they're passing it off to be. It's not a globe by any stretch.
And I wanted to offer this up as well, because now that you have a little community going, maybe we can start pulling information.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, a friend of mine and I used to dirt bike here in Carroll County, Maryland. It's a county outside of the Baltimore metropolitan area. And back in that time, in the 70s, it was a very rural farm area. It's building up now, but there's still a lot of rural areas. And we would dirt bike and on the back roads, and there was what looked like a very strange building, and we believed it was government. In fact, we found out later it was. We suspect it was Air Force, and they had strict prohibitions upon entering anywhere near the building. And we didn't try. It really was not that interesting. At the time, it was a white building with a funny top. Thinking back, it looked like it was some type of communications hub. And I'm just wondering, if maybe we could get a map going to see if there are other strange communication hubs that would be necessary if indeed there were no satellites. Because if we could map out kind of a grid of where these things are, if they exist in other areas, then we could maybe speculate on exactly what they are and maybe fill in one of the blanks.
Yeah, yeah, very possible. Anyone listening out there, if there are any strange communication hubs that you think don't fit any particular uh, round hole, square peg in a round hole type situation where it's like you're looking at the building and going, why that should not be there. It doesn't look like a communications tower of any kind. Let us know, because we're always curious about that. Hey, hate to cut you off, but unfortunately, I've got to get through some of these mail things. I promised I'd talk to people, but thank you very much for
Sure
calling in.
thing.
Okay.
Take care. Great show.
All right. You too. Okay. So we don't have any calls right now, right?
No, it was weird. There were two that came up. I was about to tell you you had another call, and then two more dropped off, and I apologize.
Oh, no worries at all. Because I want to get to this guy's flamer letter. Because everyone, because I always read positive stuff, but every once in a while, and this is for a friend of mine who wanted to know, I'm trying to point out that every once in a while I get bad emails too. You ready for this one?
Mm-hmm.
You'll like this. Hello, Mr. Sargent. I am a filmmaker trained in special effects animation and have worked over 30 years creating illusions in motion media. In Clues 1, you mentioned no fact-based movies were made about the moon until The Right Stuff. Then the Apollo 13 movie was made in 1995. You mentioned major motion pictures, but what about documentaries? For All Mankind is a documentary based purely on the compilation of NASA clips from footage of the lunar missions, footage that has never left the vaults at NASA and was allowed to be copied only by the filmmaker bringing the optical printer into the vaults. I've seen this film in a theater. It is, in my professional opinion, highly unlikely to have been faked by Hollywood. Aside of the profit motive, I cannot understand why you or anyone else would continue to perpetrate the concept of moon missions as hoaxes, nor, for that matter, the Earth is flat. But then again, it takes all kinds. You sound sensible enough in your narration. Do you really believe the unfounded assumptions in your videos, or do you pay your mortgage off the proceeds of clueless clicks? If you want to increase your online presence, come clean regarding your involvement in misleading the curious minds of your world. Your honesty will pay better than deception does. And, by the way, you do a great job in crafting your vids. Put that talent to elevating your integrity. Dan Ackerman, Ackerman Films, Portland, Oregon. Well, Dan, the fact that he just pretty much made my point, and that was there still haven't been, this is a guy that's been in film for 30 years.
Sure.
And he's saying, no, there hasn't been any moon movies ever. Apollo 13 and The Right Stuff, which didn't even begin to touch the moon. And even he could only point out one documentary, which was ridiculous. So, and with that, I'm going to respond with this. This is one from a guy named Jesse. And he says, hello, Mark, my name is Jesse. I'm an ex-welder, and I'm also a welding inspector, and have welded on carbon steels as well as aluminum, stainless, chromoly, iconal, etc., almost every alloy known to man. A friend of mine from high school is actually a spacewalk coordinator for NASA. He's in charge of a quick-release ammonia line that is a jumper for the upcoming EVA 33. I am a recent Flat Earth convert, and I would really like to speak with you prior to speaking with my friend about this. He's a great guy, very intelligent. However, I have several points that I would like to make while speaking with him, some of which you have provided me. Thank you, and several more questions of my own. If you could find the time to call me at your convenience. My questions regarding welding on the ISS would also like to discuss with you, and then that was it. So basically, his questions, and he sent them to me as a separate thing, I'm not going to pull them up, was that he can't figure out how they're doing any welding up there. He can't figure it out, and he's got a friend that he wants to approach. And so why I mention this is because anyone out there that has friends that are tied to somebody, in this case, this guy's a spacewalk coordinator for NASA, play it careful, play it sly, because you don't know how these people are going to react. And I don't want to see anyone get in trouble, but at the same time, if you're comfortable with them, if this guy's a friend, bring it up to him. In this case, just all I can say is watch the the series that we did where we had experts, come in and talk about the ISS, and give their opinions, and just let them have it, basically.
I mean, and by the way, there was a movie, I think just a couple of years out, called Moon with Sam Rockwell.
With Sam Rockwell. And people actually gave me crap about that. They say, why didn't you mention Moon? I go, it's because it was a science fiction movie.
Right.
It was a very good science fiction movie, and I think he should have gotten the nod for it, an Oscar nod for it. But it was excellent. So, anyway, let's move on. Flat Earth on Hemlock Grove. I think we can get through the rest of these. These are short.
Okay.
The new season of Hemlock Grove. Do you know that series?
I don't watch much TV.
Okay. Was released on the 23rd on Netflix. I watched it on episode 7 titled Todos Santos, which plays on Telemundo. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. You can hear on the radio at the beginning of the episode, somebody said in the radio, I have just one thing to say to all the flat earthers and anti-science kooks out there: put the crack pipe down. Of course we've been to the moon. I was surprised even to hear this randomly on a show like that. But just shows that they're relating to the flat earth subject and putting things in people's subconscious mind. What do you think about this? Absolutely. And if this show, please, somebody dig up that clip. Hemlock Grove, episode 7, released on the 23rd on Netflix. Somebody rip that thing. In fact, I'll rip it too. I'll grab it and download and grab that clip, because that sounds like a great clip. Yeah, people, they're desperate. They're just taking shots.
It's only gonna get worse.
It is only gonna get worse. Let's see. This guy was talking about GPS, and I don't really want to get into that right now. Let's see. One prepper guides. I'm trying to. Oh yeah. Nope. Not gonna do that one either. Sorry. Trying to point clue number 2. Why do you think Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson has more recently announced that the Earth is now shaped like a pear? Is it because too many people are reporting seeing the pole star from below the equator, so this announcement will stave off any exciting reports of this sight? That's from Mike. Yeah, very possible. Neil deGrasse Tyson's in trouble. Everyone, if you're just now listening to this, you're just coming in, go back to the beginning. I give out Neil deGrasse Tyson's email address. And last episode, we also did Bill Nye the Science Guy. And if anybody has any more fun email addresses that I can exploit, by all means, let me have it. George writes, the top of the CN Tower is 2,050 feet above sea level. The tower is 1,815 feet high. Lake Ontario is 243 feet above sea level. That would mean that the bottom 8 feet of the tower is in Lake Ontario. That is not the case. I will send you pictures from a vantage point of Lake Ontario's southern shoreline, approximately 33 miles away. According to the accepted calculations, that would put the Toronto shoreline at a full 726 feet below the horizon, though in reality, you can see all of Toronto quite clearly most days, and it is clearly not a mirage. Really love everything you do, Mr. Sargent. Great job, in all honesty. And I cannot even pronounce his Diorge. His first.
So that's now what? Chicago and
and Toronto.
Huh.
Yeah. And again, people that haven't seen it, look, Chicago should not be visible. In fact, why hasn't anyone done that night vision test? Somebody get a freaking night vision and take it out to the Lake Michigan or whatever it is, and look at Chicago skyline and tell me what you see.
You have another call, or did you want to take another call? Or you have?
Yeah, we got 10 minutes. Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Caller, you're on the air from Texas. Hello.
Caller. Are you there? Caller. This is your last chance, or Jonathan's just going to drop
3,
Uh-oh.
2.
Here it comes.
1.
Oh, God.
Dropped off the face of the flat earth.
Whoa. He fell off the
edge.
Yeah. Nice. One thing I want to mention, here's a fun one that I got from a listener. She sent in the Dilbert. Did I send you this?
Oh, that was it's my cover right now on Facebook.
Is it? Oh, it's great. Elizabeth sent me a thing, and it's a Dilbert cartoon from October 9th, 1989. It's only 3 panels, like a lot of Dilbert stuff. And he walks in and talks to Dogbert, and he says, "You joined the Flat Earth Society." And Dogbert says, I believe the Earth must be flat. There is no good evidence to support the so-called round Earth theory. And in the third panel, Dilbert says, I think Christopher Columbus would disagree. And Dilbert says, how convenient that your best witness is long dead. It's great. That's nice.
All right, let's try this caller again. They're trying to call back in.
Okay. What do you got, caller?
Caller, you there?
Hello. Hello.
Hey, you there? You're on.
Hey,
Mr.
Mark Sargent. Mr. Mark Sargent. I'm sorry about that. Got cut off.
That's okay. What's going on?
Just enjoying your radio show. Appreciating what you guys do. It's really awesome. Just wanted to thank y'all. And
thank you.
But yeah, it's amazing just not to know what you're standing on. It's a great thing. First one, I think it's like a toroidal-shaped hologram, condensed, moving towards the center, like hence the Middle Earth.
Got it.
I don't know.
Well, no, cool. Well, no, thank you for calling in. And I'm sorry, where are you calling from before we have to go to another call?
I'm over in San Antonio, Texas.
No, right on. Well,
But,
cool.
do you know much about total shape mathematics or Mark Ryan or Walter Russell's work?
I don't, but that's okay. Unfortunately, send me an email on it. Unfortunately, we still got some more stuff we got to go through, and we've only got like 7 minutes left in the show.
I just appreciate you giving me the time, sir. Thank you.
Oh, no, my pleasure. Thank you for calling in. Okay, thanks for reaching out.
All right.
Okay.
Have a good one, sir. Bye.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right, we'll see if we can fit in one more here.
Where's this one coming from?
I don't know. I can't figure this one out. Canada, maybe?
Canada?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Call, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Not from Canada, just using Hangouts.
Oh, okay, right on.
Hey, Mark, this is Jonathan. This is West States Flat Earth News. Sorry I didn't get a hold of you last week. Just got swamped with some stuff. But no, just a funny tidbit on the using phone line to call you guys. On my service, I got actually shut off because I was listening to Truth Frequency Radio.
Really?
And is that the weirdest thing? I have unlimited everything. Okay, it's a prepaid. I won't mention the name, but it starts with a G and A and ends with a T. Anyhow, it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, I have free, unlimited everything, but yet they cut my internet off on my phone. And when I called to question it, they told me because I was listening to you guys. And I'm like, that's the silliest thing I ever heard.
Wow.
I mean, talk about someone trying to control who listens to you guys.
Yeah.
Well,
wow,
anyhow,
that's great, man.
I know. I had to throw that out, but anyhow,
no, thank you.
Still working on the debate, dude.
Okay, yeah,
On the debate. We're gonna do it. It's gonna come.
All right, you just let me know, man. I will be there. I will debate anybody at any time at this point.
I know you will. All right. Good going, guys. Talk to you later.
Talk to you soon. While Wes was talking to us, we had an email come in from Danny. Danny, that was me doing Judge Snails.
Danny,
Danny. I've sent boys younger than you to the gas chamber.
Caddyshack.
Didn't want to do it. Felt I owed it to them. He says he was actually, because he was listening to the show apparently, and made a comment like, "Where is Matt?" Kind of like, "Where's Matt Boylan? Where is Waldo?" And he says Matt has for the last year been Gordon Ramsay's stunt double in Kitchen Nightmares. He was recently put on gardening leave for putting flatbread on the crew menu instead of a round sandwich loaf. Danny from UK.
Nice.
Thank you, Danny.
That's great.
Danny's just waking up. He's having breakfast at this show right now over in England.
So that's brilliant.
That is great.
As they would say over there.
Brilliant. Absolutely. Christopher Baker writes, There was a thing on an ESPN story recently. He goes, it's kind of tied to what the flight instructor was telling us about how there's dead spots with the GPS. And he said, from the Ramona Shelburne discussing Lamar Odom's romp in Vegas, there's a little excerpt from that. And he goes, the cell phone service along Nevada State Route 160 starts getting spotty about 30 miles outside of Las Vegas. Calls drop mid-sentence if they connect at all. The radio cuts out just past Mountain Springs. GPS endlessly recalculates. By the time you get to the turnoff for Dennis Hoff's Love Ranch, a legal brothel on the outskirts of Pahrump, the only calls heard clearly are coyotes howling across the Amargosa Valley. And he said, this is interesting for a few reasons, just thought I'd pass along. By the way, people have tried to argue with me that the satellite signals can't reach certain areas. Are we serious? Or they argue that cell phones don't have issues around skyscrapers because the signal is coming in from a satellite. You have to laugh. Unless I missed something, the cell phone is not a satellite phone. It doesn't connect through a satellite. It connects to a tower that perhaps theoretically connects to a satellite, but doesn't in actuality. This differs from Mark's flight instructor GPS, which has to be purportedly returned from a satellite signal, but obviously is not. And his plane's GPS has all the same problems. $1 million question. I got to throw this out because the show's ending soon anyway. When does this blow wide open? It's building like crazy. No need to respond unless you want to. Keep on pushing forward, guys. I can't even imagine what would happen if the general populace realized the level of deception. And yeah, Jonathan and I have debated about that. Jonathan thinks they'll start burning things down in the streets. But I think it could be the beginning of something wonderful. Because that's what it's all about.
No, I think it's going to come down to some smart lawyers looking at contracts and fighting it from that level on contract law.
Maybe.
Like people, and then people using their purchasing power and just stop purchasing and say, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to go to work. We're not going to do anything. Forget guns. They could take the guns away like they keep fighting for. But when people just stop doing everything and say, we want answers, really, that's when you get 5 million people to go march somewhere.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? We get 2 minutes left. Let's just wrap. I'd normally get into another email, but I think we burned between a lot of calls. We had a lot of calls tonight. Next week we're going to take hopefully. Yeah, next week we are going to take more calls because we don't have a guest, I think, until we have a mystery guest the week after that. But if anybody wants to, get ready for next week's show, write this number down. It's 866-37-TRUTH. That's 866-378-7884. So yeah, there you have it.
Cool.
We got a minute and a half. What do you? Why don't you do a plug for your show, which is coming up on Thursday?
Oh yeah, Mark Snafu. He sabotaged me and he interviewed me for my program.
Damn right.
Try to throw me under the bus.
Yeah. Everybody I try to get in depth with ends up being a target. And that's what I'm hoping. I've got a perfect batting record so far. And I absolutely want to make sure there's a target.
I'm your wingman, though. Why are you being all passive aggressive?
No, it's not passive aggressive. You got to share the load. People got to, you cannot get off. Seriously, that thing we were talking about with Sean, how Sean, when he made his channel, he got because he didn't have any videos, people just kept posting on his discussion page. He has like 3,000 posts in his discussion page.
That boggles me. Yeah.
And you had two
in the past 8 months.
Yeah. You've had nobody talk to you about this stuff. It's like, I just can't, I don't get it. And you're not even mentioned in the same set. Like, remember tonight, people are calling in. It's like, hey, Marco. Oh yeah. Hi, Jonathan.
Right.
How does that happen? Anyway, but we'll pick this up next week and we'll do some more fun things and talk to a bunch of more people and have some fun with it.
Cool.
All right. See you next time.
Thanks, man.